enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Welcome to the Pixel Pop Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Toby. This fortnight I'm joined by the strawberry-flavoured Ethan.
Oh, I like me some strawberries.
And the banana malt-flavoured Lucas.
Dude, okay, so I know you brought that up kind of hilariously, but I had a banana malt when I was in the States, like milkshake, and it's the best fucking thing I've ever had. So thank you for the highest of compliments.
There you go, you see? I'm omnipotent and omniscient. It's scary.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you that. That's what the weird
And I
part
saw
about
what you did last night under the covers, Lucas. Never again, young man.
Oh, boy.
This fortnight we have some news, not a huge amount actually. It's been a pretty quiet fortnight, so we're going to get through that fairly quickly. We've got a couple of mini sort of reviews, spoiler-free, some TV shows and things that we want to touch on. And then our topic of conversation is going to be time travel, which we just thought up about 5 minutes ago, and we're going to completely ad-lib, so it should be fun. But before we dive into any of that nonsense, let's start with the news. Please take us away, Ethan.
First bit of news we got today is Castle Rock has been renewed for season 2 at Hulu. Now, I've only watched the first 2 episodes. I haven't watched any more than that, but I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people have been enjoying it, and Hulu has said it's their most successful shows as well.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I was going to touch on in mini review, spoiler-free, of course, because I'm up to scratch now. I've watched all 7.
So, yeah, and then they announced a while back that it's going to be an anthology series, kind of like American Horror Story, season something new.
Yeah,
but all based on like more Stephen King work sort of thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Yeah. Next we have Simpsons movie 2 is happening, as well as a Bob's Burgers movie and a Family Guy movie. Well, Family Guy's a live action hybrid.
I'm actually excited for 2 of those 3.
Yeah, Simpsons and Bob's Burgers, not Family Guy.
Dude, absolutely. But like, if for some reason you're living under a rock and you haven't seen Bob's Burgers, it is hysterical.
Oh yeah,
it's so good. And then Simpsons, when Simpsons movie, the first one came out, like that was kind of, everyone thought The Simpsons was over the hill by that point, and then it just seemed to inject new life into the series, and it's getting to the point where The Simpsons again is kind of getting a bit over the hill, and everyone's like wondering if it's on its last legs, and now's the perfect time to drop another movie and get everyone back on board.
Have either of you gentlemen seen the new Netflix show that Groening's done?
I've like halfway through it. I'm enjoying it. I enjoy Futurama more.
Enchanted or Enchanted?
Disenchantment.
That's right. I haven't caught it yet. Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay.
Next we've got Disney is pretty much they're not rehiring James Gunn as director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They're firm on not rehiring him at all. Kevin Feige said that he stands by their decision, so he's not coming back as director. Although he still will be credited as writer.
They're apparently using his script. They just won't be using him. So I've seen rumors going around as well that there's a good chance that while he's gone from Guardians, he might not be gone from Marvel. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of in this weird limbo state at the minute where they don't know exactly where he is, like where he's standing. Well, we don't know where he's standing. They might have a plan for him because I know that he was going to be the kind of like the curator of the cosmic universe, and he was the one that was going to bring that to life. And
so he still
that's obviously been dealt a huge blow. Yeah, then that's what I mean. I think that's kind of what they might be using him more to consult and push whatever characters that they plan on bringing in, and using his like map. And maybe still using him to do that. He just won't be at the forefront. He might be sitting more towards the background.
And obviously, Batista is still widely outspoken about his disapproval of everything that's going on.
Yeah, so, I mean, the movie's now been put into... it's been bumped out of its allocated date.
Yeah, the production has been put on hold officially.
It's on hold. And then Batista has continued with sharing links to videos and tagging Disney in them. From the chap that was the one that sort of brought Gunn down. The video, I've watched it, is him sort of bragging about how he does these hit pieces. I sort of got to a point in my life where I know it's all bullshit, so I just ignore all of it. But look, there's this video obviously of the guy that's shot down Gunn saying he does these things for a kick, and so Batista shared that video and sort of tagged Disney. It's probably not going to have any impact.
No.
But, I mean, the damage is done. The bullet's been fired, so to speak. But, and then I suppose you could say, we could probably lead that in, Ethan, to say that in the news that has been brought in for some chats.
Yep, Taika Waititi has met with Marvel about directing another Marvel movie. They haven't said which one. He hasn't officially signed on or anything like that because we still don't know anything about Phase 4 other than Guardians and Spider-Man. But he has had talks, and a lot of when news had been brought up about James Gunn being fired, a lot of people were saying, "We'll get Taika Waititi to come on and do Guardians 3 because he will probably closely fit that style more than anyone else."
Yeah, if this has to happen, I would think he's probably the logical choice.
Yeah. So whether or not he would want to go in and work on that,
I think Taika's probably going to go away if that's the case. If Marvel have said, "Hey, we're eyeing you off for doing Guardians 3. What do you think?" I wouldn't be surprised if he then goes off and has a chat with Gunn. And if Gunn gives him his blessing, then I imagine it's the sort of thing he would do.
I would say Gunn would give him his blessing. They've had Twitter back at exchanges all the time. They've met, they've talked. So I would say that Gunn probably would give him a blessing, and he would actually talk to Gunn while making the movie and anything like that to try and stick it true to what Gunn wanted to do.
And the cool thing is then, if that is the case, then you'll probably see Gunn's influences by proxy. Because I'm sure Taika would be like, okay, well, this is what's happening at the moment, what do you think, kind of thing, and maybe even break a few rules and show him some dailies or something. I don't know. That'd be the dream, I guess, in terms of the best of a bad situation.
And and then there was Lucas was saying to me that they think that because Guardians has been put on hold, that Doctor Strange 2 could be brought up, and they could be doing that to replace Guardians' spot.
Yeah, that's more than a rumor. I think at this point, I think that's the way that they're going with it.
Yeah,
which would be good. I'm happy for more Doctor Strange, and that could fit into some stuff that Scott Derrickson was tweeting out about. Put on his Instagram about something to do with Doctor Strange happening in September. They could announce that just to try and get people's hopes up over Guardians.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of the first one, but
I loved it.
But that being said, now that we've got the origin stuff out of the way, I'm kind of keen to see the Sorcerer Supreme really let loose in a more epic sort of film.
Moving on with a bit more James Gunn news. During Comic-Con, where he got fired, he was supposed to be there to promote a horror movie that he has produced, but they cancelled that. It's a movie for Sony. No one knows what it is yet. It's been rumored to be Bloodborne, but we don't think it is. But Sony has announced that it is coming out this November.
So there's a movie by Gunn and no one knows what it is, and it's coming out in November.
It's a super secret horror movie that he produced. I think he helped co-write, and one of his friends directed it. It's got Elizabeth Banks in it, and no one knows what it is, but it comes out this November.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. Being that we're like end of August and nothing's leaked. Jeez.
They were supposed to officially show it off at Comic-Con, but because of all the stuff that happened with him, Sony pulled it from their Hall H panel, and Hall H is like the biggest hall there, where everything gets shown off, and they pulled it from it.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Moving on, Danny Boyle has left Bond 25 over creative differences.
Dude, this has really got me shook. Danny Boyle is fucking incredible. And I was really excited to see him do a Bond movie. And now it's not happening, and it's got me real sad.
Well, further to that, there's news that the latest film might actually get completely script rewritten and the release delayed. Wow.
Well, there's so much Bond news to cover. I didn't think we'd get to a point where, I think there's 5 or 6 different Bond stories all happening at once. Just because it sounds like the production of this movie is currently into chaos. You've also got the Idris Elba stuff, which we'll probably talk about. But
yeah, I had that idea.
Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you just got Bond, which is great because I love it. But this isn't the type of news that I want. I didn't want sad stuff.
Well, then you've got the front runners to direct. Apparently, Edgar Wright's in the mix to be a front runner to do it. As well as Jean-Marc Vallée, who did Big Little Lies, David Mackenzie, Hell or High Water. They're all up front runners. Edgar Wright would be pretty interesting to see him do a Bond movie.
Dude, Edgar Wright
has his own style on it. So
Edgar Wright is a really surprising choice. He's great, but the thing is, he does a lot of comedy. A lot of his movies have a lot of comedy in it. So, and Bond, the Daniel Craig way that they've taken Bond, while there's been like small, like sly jokes and stuff, and small attempts at humor, like there's nothing to the point that Edgar Wright has done. So Edgar Wright's a really interesting choice if he did get it, but I feel like he would have to write all of his comedy out and do a completely serious film, which I don't know if he could do.
Yeah, it's not his style at all.
Hell no.
And then we also had a rumor going around that Idris Elba would be the next Bond after Daniel Craig, and there's a lot of support behind him for it. But he's pretty much just said, no, I'm not doing it.
So he's officially shot it down. He had some fun on Twitter about it though, where he put up the picture of like, my name's Elba, Idris Elba, and everyone. That's what kind of sent everyone into a tailspin.
Yeah.
I've been on this Idris Elba James Bond train for like 4 years, begging for it to happen. But I'd love to see him. I'm just gonna call it out, but like the amount of people who are coming out with these very kind of racist ideas of James Bond is white, he can't be black. Fuck all that. James Bond is a code name. They've officially confirmed that. I really want to see a different James Bond, like, as not just being just a suave white dude. Even if it was a chick, like, that would be fucking awesome. But that needs to be the right choice, and Idris Elba 100% is the right choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even think Idris could play the character nearly the same as, the previous Bonds in terms of, being a womanizer and an action star and all the rest. Like, it really, the color of his skin wouldn't make any difference.
Hell no.
It's not like he's going to be like, get a swagger on and be all like shooting sideways, you know what I mean? It's not going to be that at all.
Exactly.
It'd be absolutely no different to what we've seen previously. I mean, in so much as he's not going to have this entire personality change. Like, it's not going to be some grand swing, you know what I mean, from what we're used to.
Yeah,
I'm sure he put his own spin on it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure Idris would bling his. But it's not going to. That though, like, he's still going to be a British spy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
It's not like all of a sudden James Bond is now played by Chris Tucker. You know?
Oh boy!
You know what I mean? It's not going to be that.
Could you imagine that? Holy shit!
I know, right? I'd still watch that.
You know what? They should actually do, like, to pitch obviously up to Sony because they're listening. They should do or anyone else that isn't Sony should do like a James Bond ripoff, literally with Chris Tucker.
Yeah, 008.
Because that would be, or him, or even Chris Rock. Like, Chris Rock would be really funny too. Tucker's got like the, if they did Chris Tucker like from Rush Hour, where kind of that fast talking like smart ass cop, but do that in like a spy setting, I think that would sell tickets.
Yeah. Anyway.
Next we have, but I just chucked in now. Robert Downey Jr. has been on the social media, has been putting out a lot of stuff to do with Sherlock. And I think they've got a script done now, and I think they're getting ready to actually start filming Sherlock 3 now with both him and Jude Law returning.
Jude Law dropped some hints too on Twitter or something about plot and things like that. So it's definitely moving forward.
It has a release date of 2020, but they're unsure if Guy Ritchie will be turning to direct. I'm sure that by the time he'll be done with Aladdin by then, so it should be freed up for it.
That's a shame. That's a real shame.
Yeah.
If Guy Ritchie doesn't come back.
Yeah, I agree.
It is, yeah.
Because he's injected so much of his own flavor into those movies that I feel those three together, they even the second movie, like the second movie wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still really good. So I feel like
oh, sorry, you go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I feel like only having two pieces of the puzzle, which is also conveniently the two main actors, and not having the director there to give them the inspiration to act as well as they did in those first two movies, and have it be someone else. Like, I feel that's going to really let the film down. Let's just hope it's not Shane Black.
Well,
look what he did to Iron Man 3, the motherfucker.
And now I'm waiting for Toby to say, look what he's doing with Predator. Is that going to come?
There's no point. That movie is already the box office predictions are already subpar.
Lower than AVP.
Yeah, this movie is going to tank hard.
I'm still going to watch it anyway.
What's predicted?
Of course you will, and then you'll go watch the second half of fucking Skyline too.
Predator's predicted for 30 mil at the minute, which isn't terrible for like a non-tentpole film. Yeah, R-rated non-tentpole film.
Yeah, but they're saying it's going to do worse than, other titles in the series, so to speak. And I think it's going to do. I think it's going to do even worse. I think it's honestly, it's going to tank. It is going to tank.
Well, next we have John Hamm and Ed Harris have signed on for Top Gun, following along with Val Kilmer, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, and Tom Cruise all returning as well.
Doesn't surprise me. Ed Harris has been in a bunch of Army/Air Force movies. I'll always remember him from The Right Stuff.
But I guess with Westworld being extremely popular, he might have just a bit of rise in popularity now, a bit more.
Yeah, he'll be a military role. He'll play some sort of colonel or something that tells him all to get stuffed. Yeah. Yep.
John Hamm as well. He's fucking solid, man. He's a real good actor.
So
I feel that he's a huge get for that movie, especially for a lot of people that might not have seen the original. The moment they see people now, the moment they see John Hamm's name, they know they want to see it. So,
John Hamm was Mr. Sinister, but he's no longer anymore.
That's a damn shame. That's a goddamn shame.
Yeah, it is. It is. We also have Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings and Lost has been cast in Star Wars 9. No one knows his role, but he's in number 9.
He's an Ewok.
That's gonna be real cool.
He's
because as much as
he's an Ewok.
As much as oh shit.
Bugger all prosthetics.
As much as I love him from Lord of the Rings, he'll always be Charlie to me.
Oh yeah, same to me, man. Same to me.
I really
got a drive shaft
hope.
ring right here.
Yeah, drive shaft. Fuck that. Oh, that band was awful. It was one of the worst TV, fictional bands ever.
Oh, yeah. It was so bad.
But no, I actually really like Dominic Monaghan, so I really hope that he gets a chance to shine, and I really want him. It's a shame that he also disappeared out of film and went back to television after Lord of the Rings.
He's in such a shitty Aussie show at the moment. He's on a terrible fucking show on networks here.
Wait, what is he on?
He's on a show called Bite Club, where it's about a bunch of people who have had have been attacked by sharks, who are now being targeted by a serial killer who's just going after people who have been attacked by sharks. He plays a cop.
This wow.
Yeah, he's on that.
Why?
It's
Why does this
airing
exist
right now? It's on now.
Did he not Did he not read that script and be like, oh my god?
I think he was just I need a little bit of money. Let me go do this.
Yeah, I suppose.
A Gallagher animated TV shows in the works from Star Trek's Robert Orkey.
Yep. What?
Never played Gallagher. Don't know what it is.
You haven't played Gallagher?
Do you mean Robert?
Nah.
Do you mean Robert Orkey is in Do you mean Robert Orkey is in the guy that did Lost as well?
Yeah. Wait, did Robert Orkey? No, Robert Orkey didn't do Lost, did he?
Oh no, Robert Orkey didn't. Was Robert Orkey one of? No, Kurtz.
Carlton Cuse and
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. To
Robert
confuse
Orkey
there.
did.
No, Robert Orkey also did the reboot Star Trek with JJ.
And he did a Fringe as well.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm thinking.
For anybody who's 12, like Ethan, Gallagher is from Konami, or Namco rather. Sorry, Namco, and it came out in '81. It's like a Space Invader style game.
Everyone knows what it is, Toby.
Yeah,
they talked about it in the Avengers.
I know what it is. Never played it.
Right. So, but the thing is, how do you turn that into a movie? Or a TV show? That's really something. That's.
You just pew pews in space, bang bang.
Well, pretty much.
Well, to be fair, who thought that Battleship could be turned into a film?
Oh no! Why are you bringing that up?
Just that's
exactly what I mean.
It wasn't good.
Did I say it was good?
That fucking show. Oh,
we had some trailers. Can we talk about the trailers? We had some trailers.
Yeah, we had some trailers. We had
we actually had a few trailers this fortnight, eh?
Yeah, we had Iron Fist Season 2 trailer.
That's looking good.
That was looking good. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but the choreography is looking a lot better.
We have a little chat that we all kind of talk in, and Toby was like, "Thank fuck they're putting a mask on him."
Yeah. Yeah, I won't lie. Absolutely,
because the choreography is going to be so much better.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, that's what works for Daredevil. I mean, not that Charlie's particularly bad athlete, but it's just a case of, versus someone who's got 20 years of martial arts experience. You put a mask on the lead actor, you can put a stuntman in there, and all of a sudden, just your fight scenes go through the roof. And that's what this show needed. And just from what we've seen already in the trailer, it's looking a hell of a lot better. And so I don't want to get my hopes up because then I can get disappointed. But it's I'm being optimistic.
I think as well it's going to benefit from going down to 10 episodes.
I agree.
I really think it's going to benefit because
I think they should do that with all of their Marvel stuff. Personally, 10 episodes is perfect.
I wouldn't say all. I think everything since Defenders, which keep in mind is only so far Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. I think those two shows have really benefited from having 13 episodes to flesh some characters out a little bit more. But with how wonky the storytelling was in the first Iron Fist, I feel that they needed to dial it back, and putting it back to 10 just for Iron Fist. If they go back to 13 for Daredevil, I don't really care because Daredevil has both been pretty solid, has had pretty solid seasons, and in regards to Daredevil, nothing has felt like it's stretched out, but Iron Fist, I think, needs to dial back.
Yeah, I did notice there's like a briefest like frame of the antagonists from the first season. The brother and sister. The brother and sister.
Oh no, sorry, the Meachums.
Yeah, there's like a single frame I think where you see like the Meachums, so they're obviously going to pop up.
You see the sister looking at like a bunch of people getting trained in like a warehouse. Like 1 second.
I feel the first half of the season is going to deal very much with like his conflict with Davos and possibly trying to find Kunlun again, and then it's going to end up with the Meachums trying to take their revenge, or like the sister Meachum trying to take her revenge, because I think he's still tied in with the brother, right? They're now best friends, or like pals at best.
I think so, yeah.
We had a trailer for Hold the Dark, which sort of I wasn't expecting. And that's hitting Netflix very soon. I don't know if you watched that trailer, but it looks all right.
Werewolves.
Is it werewolves? I sort of got more of the impression that it's like a wolf cult.
Well, no, I went and looked at the cast list for it, and it says someone's credited there as a werewolf.
Thanks for spoiling everything. Yeah, nice.
No, I thought that
I'm not even going to watch this now. It's fucked. Can't even watch it.
What a surprise! Ethan ruins fucking everything.
Yep. Wow. Wow.
I don't watch the trailer. Who's in there?
Yeah. Good work, Ethan. Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, this is how the movie ends. Yeah. Fuck.
There's if you want. There was also another trailer. I haven't watched it yet, and I don't know if you guys have yet. The new movie with Chris Pine for Netflix, Outlaw King, I think it was called.
I didn't watch it. I saw it there. Hold on, let me just look at the cast list and spoil it for you. Hold up.
Yeah.
But it's from what I can gather, it's based on a true story. Like it's a historical film about Robert the Bruce trying to take back Scotland.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean, like the cast for it isn't too bad. Like Tony Curran's in it. Callum Mulvey from he was very briefly in Batman vs Superman. Chris Pine, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like it's pretty like B list.
Okay,
apart from Chris Pine, but
yeah. I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson isn't that B.
Hey.
Aaron Taylor Johnson isn't that B list though. Well, I suppose he can.
Oh, he kind of is. Like his biggest film was Avengers.
Yeah.
And he was in one of them. So.
Or two. We don't know.
He's done Kick-Ass and a bunch of like not as big films, but yeah, no. From someone that I know had basically called it Braveheart 2. from the trailer, that's the kind of the vibe he was getting. So.
Another trailer came out.
Yeah.
Toby was looking for it. It was The Man in the High Castle Season 3.
Yeah, October 5th, yeah. So it's probably one of the few things on Amazon Prime at the moment until Jack Ryan comes out that's really got my attention. And I watched Season 1 a while ago and thought it wasn't bad. The sets were good and, the acting was by and large fairly good. I had trouble empathizing with some of the characters, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good, and it sort of dropped you with a bit of a bomb at the end, and you're like, oh, okay, what's happening next? And then I'd always intended to go back and watch Season 2 and just never got around to it, but I watched that, went back and did the whole 2 seasons again just recently, and it's good. Yeah, if you've got Prime, do yourself a favor. It's good, and it paces well, and it just the rabbit hole gets deeper over those sort of 2 seasons, but at a really good pace. It doesn't I've seen other shows that sort of take too long to get somewhere, or they sort of rush too fast ahead and throw you into this sort of craziness, and you're like, wait, what's going on? This really paces well and slowly builds up, and then when it does drop bombs, you're reeling, and if you're interested in anything sort of World War II related, I don't think it's got much to do with the original story by Dick. But that's fine. I mean, the script writing's good, and it's certainly taking it in some really interesting places. And the trailer for season 3 looks good, and apparently it's already been picked up for a season 4. Hopefully, though, they don't drag it on too long. It's kind of like Stranger Things, where, you know, it's a good thing, but let's not do 12 seasons of a good thing because it stops being a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to say as well, I think Toby kind of missed his own joke where he was talking about dropping bombs. And
I was going to say something about that.
Yeah, cool. I wanted to make sure that I was the only one that caught that.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. So, but yeah, it's good. And season 2 really wasn't afraid to break a few sort of traditional rules in that, like, you know, again, no spoilers, but you might normally say in a show like, you know, the good guys always win, or, you know, the hero gets the girl at the end of the day, and all this sort of stuff. Like, they're your cliche rules. You know, Man in the High Castle, by and large, breaks most of these rules, which is kind of refreshing. Yeah, I'm digging it. So do yourself a favour. You've got until October 5th for season 3 to come out, so you've got, you know, a month and a bit. Go and watch the first 2 seasons. You won't regret it.
Now, last bit of news which Lucas added in is Michael Pena has joined the live-action Dora the Explorer movie as Dora's dad.
Yeah. And then
with Eva Longoria as her mother.
Yeah, Eva Longoria is playing Dora's mum.
So is that for those kids that listen to our podcast? Because I'm sure there's none of you out there anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I like him in Ant-Man, of course, but everything else I've seen this dude in is shit.
Are you judging by Extinction as well?
Yes.
Is that why?
Yeah, he's just not a good actor. He's not. I'm sorry. And you know, he can hate me all he wants, but
to kind of throw this in, right? I don't know if you guys have ever seen Tower Heist, but like
nope.
he's in Tower Heist, and he's the funniest part of that movie. And that's got a movie with Alan Alda, Ben Stiller, Eddie Murphy.
Who are none of these people are particularly funny anymore, so yeah.
Well, mind you, this was like 8 years ago this movie came out. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
Eddie Murphy was kind of like trying to get... This is the movie that Eddie Murphy was trying to get back into comedy, like, full time.
Obviously, it didn't work.
And he was funny in it, but like Michael Pena was this kind of like naive, innocent, like elevator guard that was like, yeah, let's rob the son of a bitch. And then like, he's the funniest part of that movie. I really like Michael Pena. I actually think he's great. Mm-hmm. I'll back the dude.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's the last news, yeah.
All right, the other thing I wanted to just do a quick sort of recap on, without spoilers, was Castle Rock on Hulu is doing quite well. I've watched episode 7 now. I don't know where you guys are at. Have you started it, Lucas?
No, not at all. We only just got back from the States last weekend, so I haven't had a chance to dive in yet.
See, so you're probably in a position then that you might as well wait the next 3 weeks out or whatever, and then just you can do the whole thing in one go.
I'm honestly thinking that because everything that I've heard has been like excellent, and it's not a secret. You both of you know that I'm not a major follower of Stephen King's work, so I feel that some of it's going to get lost on me. But at the same time, I feel like I don't know how close that these characters represent the actual versions of themselves that they've come from in the source material. You guys could probably get a little bit deeper with that for me, but
well, I mean, the source material is I mean, there's homages, but it's an original story.
Oh, okay, cool. So, like, it's not like, for example, that, you know, Pennywise the Clown is chasing down.
No, you don't need to have read any of. No, you don't need to have read any of King's work. Yeah, if you've never read any of his books or watched any of his films, you're still fine. They throw little Easter eggs in there to keep the fans happy, and you can sort of get an idea of things they might be alluding to as you watch the show. My only concern with is there hasn't been enough payoff yet, and we're at episode 7. And
is it go for 10?
I think it goes for 10, and we've got 3 episodes left, and I'm not feeling any gratification at the moment. I'm not feeling any satisfaction, and that worries me, because there's still a whole... If these are going to be sort of self-enclosed stories each season, we may end up having a really busy last episode, and then shit gets rushed or things don't get answered, and that's just going to annoy me. having said that, like, the acting so far has been good. I've enjoyed the story to this point, but it just seems that, yeah, like, that was the one thing that bugged me with Lost. That's why I just couldn't watch Lost. And I know it was good and people enjoyed it, but I couldn't watch it because you just never gave me any answers, and I just got sick of being cock-teased endlessly. And
if you're gonna watch Lost, just watch the first 5 seasons and just end it.
So I'm hoping that we start getting some payoff very soon, you know. And there's been some good twists and turns, and that's the thing. You'll sort of think, oh, I think this person's doing this, or this person's this, and I think this is going on, and that's great. The problem is we've sort of got all those questions and but there's been no answers yet, really. So, or there's only been very small answers. So that's the only thing that's bugging me at the moment. But apart from that, it's good. But yeah, I mean, it'd probably be better if you could just do, you know, the whole 10 episodes over a weekend. Where are you? You're about episode 3, aren't you, Ethan?
I haven't watched 3. I've watched 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, you got some catching up to do.
Yeah, I got in there. I'll watch them.
All right. Have you watched Sicario?
Yes.
This is where he's going to go? Yeah, it was alright.
No, it was good. It was good. It wasn't amazing by any means, but it was good.
You see where I mean when you said you stopped before they crossed the border and then...
Yeah.
Yeah, like that whole point is it's the slow build and then it's just boom, 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 shit drops, it gets crazy.
I don't know if I'll be rushing to see the second one or not, but...
No, I didn't. I'll wait for it to come home release. But yeah.
It'll come home release and then we'll spend like another 3 months of you being like, hey Ethan, you watched Sicario 2 yet?
Maybe. I watched Split, so I upheld my end of the deal. I watched Split.
I didn't mind.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad at all. As I said, I think it was better than Unbreakable, and I'm interested to see where it goes in Glass. So, yeah.
I never seen Unbreakable. I only watched Unbreakable because I had heard that Split was connected to it. That's the only reason why I went and watched it.
Yeah, Unbreakable's not a bad film. It's not a bad film.
Shame.
Yeah.
Unbreakable's one of my all-time favorites. I fucking love it.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like,
I don't think it's got anything that exciting.
I think it was because apart from like Blade, which I couldn't really see as a kid, like it was one of the few and X-Men. It was like one of the few superhero movies at the time. But the thing was, it didn't have a comic book that was tied to or anything. Like it was a superhero movie that was a superhero film, as opposed to being a film about a superhero. But yeah, I'm really excited for Glass. I think Glass is going to be great.
Awesome.
All right, well, let's talk about a topic of conversation for this fortnight.
We'll let Lucas start.
And that is, well, no, Lucas wanted to rant about why Star-Lord was the cause of everything horrible, but, you know, like, that's boring.
He is!
That's boring. Instead, we're going to talk about time travel.
Well, no, here's the thing. Just to touch on this. He is not to blame. Doctor Strange is to blame. He saw the future. Shut up.
You're wrong. Shut up.
The worst. The literal worst.
Let's not get into this because me and Ethan will just go back and forth and then he'll be wrong and then he'll get real sad.
All right, so before we get into chewing the meat on time travel, I'm just going to bang. I've got an IMDb list here. I'm just going to go boom, boom, boom on some titles just to get you thinking. All right. So we got H.G. Wells' Time Machine, Back to the Future series, Terminator series, Donnie Darko, Planet of the Apes, Groundhog Day, and that's a good one because Groundhog Day sort of it's that loop. Run Lola Run, Doctor Strange. Why is he on this? Where's the time travel in Doctor Strange?
Repeating.
Technically, he did do the Dormammu I've come to bargain.
Yeah, he did. That's true.
And he also, the what I was actually going to bring up was technically he did fix an apple after he ate it.
And rewound time after...
travel.
There is time, yeah, okay. 12 Monkeys, of course, is a significant one there. There's some anime
12
there.
Monkeys is a huge one when it comes to time travel.
Yeah.
Like, it's a major,
So, yeah, the girl who leapt through time.
At the time when that came out, that was a major movie about time travel because time travel wasn't really that big, but now it's kind of fallen by the wayside. It was a good movie though.
Yep. Frequency, X-Men: Days of Future Past, which really delves with changing the future. Edge of Tomorrow, Philadelphia Experiment. That's a great example again. Time Traveler's Wife. I cried. That's coming to Netflix soon too.
Never seen it.
It's more of a I would
romantic
argue
drama.
It's more of a romance, but it's pretty sad.
I'll be honest, that does sound like your demographic, Toby.
What do you mean?
Oh, you strike me for the romantic drama type. He says while bashing Predator.
It's like the silence speaks volumes.
I will end you. No, but I mean,
there's one
like
movie you
the
haven't
time
brought
travel,
up yet
and yeah.
I was going to say, there's one movie you haven't brought up yet, which is, to me, the quintessential time travel movie.
I'm going through a list.
And that's
not my list.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, it's probably on here, but we're getting there. Time Bandits. Time Bandits. Great film. Come on.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You've what? Oh my God, Ethan's actually watched it.
My mum had it on DVD.
Holy shit! Stop the press! Stop the press! Ethan has seen a film that came out in 1981. Yeah. Wow.
I've seen fucking Blazing Saddles, alright? I've seen old shit.
Alright.
I've seen Gone with the Wind.
Looper, Hot Tub Time Machine.
I get started on Looper.
Predestination. Bill and Ted's. There you go. Bill and Ted's. Lake House. Source Code.
Bill and Ted was way too far down that list, in my opinion.
I'm not writing this list. I'm not writing this list.
Number one.
See, there you go. Lake House again. Another romantic drama that I watched. Yep. So, Butterfly Effect. Idiocracy.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Army of Darkness.
Yes.
Time Cop. So there's some good examples. So you've got films that do just the straightforward go back or go forwards, and then you've got the films that sort of do the loops and things like that. And there's probably a couple more on this list that I would have included as well that aren't on here, but which, interestingly, most of the films on this list are the sort of the glorified American sort of time travel, in that, you know, like Back to the Future is not, you couldn't say Back to the Future is a realistic time travel movie, you know what I mean? Like, he gets in a car, it's got a flux capacitor, like, it's just a good time film, right? There are a couple of sort of time travel movies that I've seen that aren't on this list that deal with time travel in a very serious way, you know, in terms of maths and things like that, and physics.
There's a major issue I have with time travel movies, and I love time travel as like a theme for anything, books, movies, games, everything. I love time travel stuff. But there's one that's apparently really good, and that's one called Primer. It's an indie one, and apparently it does time travel like in a really good way. Like, they actually get it done really good. And I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Primer, but I've never seen it.
Apparently, it's made for some kids at like a uni or something like that, and they actually use like mathematical equations, and they don't shy away from using all the proper terms in there. But apparently, it's pretty true to what time travel should be, should it exist.
Yeah.
Because that's the one where like they make it in their garage, right? And then I'm just making sure it's the right movie, and like every time that they like disrupt a loop, like it basically like ruins everything around them.
Well, that can be
like they go back and they go forward. Like
it's not a found footage one. It's not what you're thinking of.
You know, and it's you have to spend a certain amount of time going. Like, if you want to go back 2 weeks, you have to sort of travel. Like, you have to sit put for 2 weeks to sort of pay back the time and all this sort of stuff. So the one I'm thinking of is like time still passes for you, but you can change the direction you're moving in. And it was a little weird, but there's some good ones out there that deal with time travel properly, but that's not for everybody. And again, it's those sorts of films tend to get pretty heavy, and
I get annoyed with like the Terminator, like the time travel in that. They send the robot back to protect John Connor and all this sort of stuff, and stop Skynet from taking over and from existing in there, right? But if Skynet never existed, they'll never need to send the Terminator back in time to do it, which therefore cancels the whole thing out, and it shouldn't be able to work. And that's where I get annoyed from it.
Sure. The argument is that they could have sent the second Terminator back before they sent back the first one.
I know, it just goes to one big loop and it still doesn't make any sense. That frustrates me.
And it's, I mean, shows like Doctor Who have, you know, heaps of flaws.
Yeah, they do. Then you have like the Time Machine with, I've only seen all of Guy Pearce. I love that movie.
Guy Pearce, yeah.
I really prefer the 1960 version, but that might just be me.
Yeah,
I think it's
but
much better.
I think that one was good. That was a good sort of, representation of time travel. How he stays where he is. It doesn't move. Like it's not time and space, which a lot of ones do that.
Well, it has to be time and space.
I mean, like location. Like he just stays where he is over the.
Technically,
course
he's
of
not. No, technically, he's not. This is the big problem with a lot of time travel movies. Okay, if I time travel 6 months into the future or 6 months into the past, I'm floating in space. Because the Earth and the galaxy are not in a fixed point. Yeah. This is why it has to be time and space. Because if my literal astrological coordinates don't change and just move time, I'm literally in the vacuum of space because the Earth is on the other side of the sun.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of things overlook as well. Yeah.
When you have ones like Source Code, where it isn't quite. He's actually traveling back in time. He's just viewing things back in the past to try and, solve it in the present.
No, he's
not actually changed, isn't it?
No, he's definitely time traveling. So
I thought it was just like viewing stuff in the back.
No. So basically, the way this movie works, if you haven't seen it, I would go watch it. I'm going to spoil the shit out of it. But basically, he's essentially like a drone strike operator, where that he's sitting in a machine that can project himself into a body of a person that's on the train, and he can, and because everyone on that train is about to die.
This is the Jake Gyllenhaal film, isn't it?
Yeah. He can go through and basically talk to everyone and basically try and suss out where the bomb is, who's put the bomb on the train, etc., etc. And then what happens is every time, basically in every single time, like they're not alternate timelines, but it's more him going back in time and doing things differently, because no matter what, everyone on that train will die. There's no point to stop it. They just want to find out who bombed it. And the ending of the film is that he stops the bombing and gets off the train and lives the life in the body that he's invaded, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I took from it.
Oh, I haven't seen it in ages, so I thought
the thing is, like, every time that body dies, he goes back into his own brain. Like, it basically pulls him out of the so he thinks it's a simulation, but it's not, as well. And over the course of the film, he's finding out that it's real, and like this is an event that really happened, and it's fucking mental. But yeah, the way that they dealt with time travel in that, what I thought was really interesting, because it wasn't necessarily about changing the. Initially, it didn't start off as changing or like creating alternate universes. It was just him going back and trying to figure things out. But I really like Source Code. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. And then you've got the sort of the Groundhog Day thing, which is more like a wormhole kind of thing where, you're stuck in this perpetual loop.
Yeah, more like a rabbit hole. Just
yeah.
Going and going. But Groundhog Day is one of the best. I love that movie.
Yeah, I know the scriptwriter said that he originally sort of envisaged that Murray was in there for like 10,000 years.
That makes sense. I mean, at least we know he was in there for, I think they worked it out to like 300 days at the least.
Yeah, but in the original story, the way they had it was he would read, to keep track of days, he would read like a page out of a book in the town library once per day.
Yeah, to know how often
to know where he was at, and yeah, by the end of the show, he'd read like the entire library.
Yeah. So good.
But yeah, I mean, and other shows have sort of ripped on it since. Like, there's, we all talk about, the Groundhog Day sort of scene in other films.
You had like Edge of Tomorrow. You had Happy Death Day, which came out last year, the horror movie. That was the same sort of similar thing.
Yeah.
It just shows you as well how culturally iconic that film is, because it's like, even if you have a day where you feel like you're having deja vu, it's not deja vu anymore. It's, this feels like Groundhog Day because you're doing the same shit every day. Like, that's kind of how ingrained that movie has become within pop culture.
Yeah, I mean, look at Edge of Tomorrow. I mean, it's a classic Groundhog Day movie taken in a more serious direction.
Sci-fi route, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even sci-fi route. Edge of Tomorrow is heavily underrated. I think they're making a second one, right?
Yeah, it's going to be like a prequel, sequel as well, sort of thing.
Isn't Edge of Tomorrow, though, based on a manga or something, I thought?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm not that naive then.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's really funny though, because like initially they were going to call the movie like Live, Die, Repeat or something.
Yeah.
Which is such a dumb name for a movie.
It is a little.
I mean, you also have movies like Butterfly Effect as well, which I actually enjoy. The Butterfly Effect,
because it shows you the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, just the first one.
Just the first one.
Don't watch the others. Just the first one.
Yeah.
I think they made like 5 of them, right?
Something like that. They were like direct to DVDs afterwards.
But yeah.
Right, so what's wrong with Looper then?
Looper. I mean, the movie's good, right? The movie's good.
I fucking love that movie.
I don't know. I enjoy it, but just the time travel stuff in it just still annoys the shit out of me. Because it's not right, and I don't know. It annoys me. Okay, it just annoys me. Because to me, it's not right. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't work how it is. Because he then kills himself to stop his older self from killing the kid. Right? The kid becomes that big kingpin in the future and whatnot. So his whole incentive to kill himself is his older self. So then, if he kills himself, then he has no incentive from his older self to do it, and therefore shouldn't be able to. But
it's the first. From what I understand, it's the first. And as well, the reason he then kills himself. So I've always assumed that this instance where Bruce Willis goes back in time and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt has to kill him is the first loop of the time loop.
Yeah.
That's the way I've kind of always understood that movie. So that when he does kill himself, basically he's then wiped an entire history away because he's not there to push it forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you mean. Yeah.
And then he's essentially wiped out that timeline because if Bruce Willis had killed that kid as well, that kid would have grown up and become... Oh, sorry, he wasn't going to kill the kid, was he? He was going to kill the mum.
No, he wanted to kill the kid.
I thought he killed the mum because they always talk about... They talk about in that movie someone killed his mum and the reason he became the Rainmaker.
Well, yeah. And he didn't want
someone
to
killed his mum and he
Rainmaker.
survived.
Yeah, and he was going to kill the kid so that the Rainmaker would have never existed and his wife in the future would still live. Because the Rainmaker was the responsibility.
So here's the question then. How do you make a good time travel movie? Or what separates a good time travel movie from a shit time travel movie?
Bill and Ted.
To me, it's just one that...
Going back in time and getting people for your high school paper.
Ones like Bill and Ted, those are fine. And because they rely on comedy for it.
So you prefer the more unrealistic, it's just a movie, have a laugh kind of films, Lucas?
For sure. There's some time travel movies that I really enjoy. One that we haven't talked about at all, the name hasn't even been brought up yet, Interstellar, to me is possibly one of the best time travel movies.
I just watched
Although, to be fair, I mean, Interstellar again comes at the whole thing from a different point of view. He's not time traveling so much as he enters the fourth dimension, or whatever it is. He becomes a and then because he becomes a multi-dimensional being, time becomes different for him.
I mean, I did like Interstellar, but the whole I'll spoil it here about how humans in the future put the portal there for the black wormhole there for them to get to another galaxy so they could advance. To me, it annoys me that the ones from the future did that so they could advance, whereas. I don't know, if you get what I mean, it's confusing, it doesn't work, and it annoys me.
I really like Interstellar. Interstellar
it's a good movie, I like it. But
Interstellar is based very much in science, and that's something that Chris Nolan takes a lot of pride in. It's probably the closest science... I think it's probably the closest science fiction film we can get to not only how space travel would work, but then also, to a degree, how time travel would work.
Because then you bring in a bunch of scientists that actually help him on the movie and make sure he gets it somewhat accurate.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was mainly for the space stuff. I know he brought some mathematicians in to understand how time travel could work from a mathematical point of view. I know all the math checks out, but I don't know.
This is why when they go down on the planet and they come back up 2 minutes later, 40 years have passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because to them it's only 2 minutes. But I mean, in the sense of what Toby was talking about before, where he's traveling through that wormhole and is basically becoming multi-dimensional, that's literally what time travel would look like, because everything else would be happening all around him.
Well,
he has no trigger to trigger the time travel. He's basically just kind of slipped and fell into it. then that's how I would imagine it.
Yeah, I get where Ethan's coming from. It's a bit cheap when we discovered time travel because we send it back to ourselves. And it's been looked at in a number of, and discussed at a number. Yeah, and it's also been brought up, in serious conversation as well. I mean, time travel you can do right now if you had the ability to resist, to be able to travel in space effectively, because all you would need is a craft that's able to sort of dip into a planet that has a huge gravitational displacement, or do a few laps around a black hole, and have the strength of a vessel to survive that, and the power to get back out again. You would shoot hundreds of years into the future. You could do that right now. It's absolutely viable. The thing is, we just don't have anything that can travel that far and survive that kind of trip. So what happens in Interstellar is, absolutely correct when they go down to that planet, which has a much higher gravitational displacement. This is the theory of relativity that Einstein put forward forever ago. Like time and space displaced through gravity. So you could do that right now if we had a ship that could survive the journey. That's absolutely real. I mean, most of the argument, debate, and whatever have you that comes up with time travel is when we go backwards. What happens? How do we have the butterfly effect? Can we change things? Would we simply just be spectators, for instance? Would we not be able to? Would it be like watching a movie per se? So, I mean, if you could travel back in time, then you would imagine that we would have seen something by now, I guess.
Yeah, but unless they're changing time so we don't notice.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, you'd have to be amazingly good, and it would have to be policed in the extreme, and it would be, it's not something you let tourists do,
Speaking of like not letting tourists do, there was a movie, a low-budget one called A Sound of Thunder, had Ben Kingsley in it, where company in like 2055 take people on a time safari. They go back to like a certain point where a volcano erupts in like the dinosaur age, and they have to stay on this one platform they make, and they shoot this dinosaur, and it doesn't matter if the dinosaur dies because it's going to get wiped out from the volcano. But someone ends up stepping off the path and stepping on a butterfly and kills it. So when they return back to the present, everything's changed.
Yeah, the butterfly effect.
Yeah, I've heard this movie.
It's very low budget and very shit.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things that I'll watch every now and then because it's like, it's not bad.
Newsflash: Ethan watches a terribly shit movie.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, surprise no one with that. It's a hard one to find as well.
Right. So do you prefer the more serious sci-fi sort of time travel than Ethan?
I prefer it more, but I don't mind like comedy ones, joking around ones that aren't quite as serious, because I know that they're not intended to be serious.
Yeah.
If I watch a proper serious time travel movie, I want it to actually get the time travel right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah. So if you had to sort of pick a couple of favourites, I'm not going to say your most favourite because that's always difficult, but a couple of time travel movies that really resonated with you, what would you pick, Ethan?
Well, there's obviously Back to the Future. 1, 2, and 3, they're all great. I love them. I enjoy, as much as the Terminator ones don't make sense to me, I do like the Terminator movies. There's one I watched a while back. It's a bit of a rom-com called About Time. I enjoyed that one. Edge of Tomorrow I enjoy. Days of Future Past is good. Yeah. And The Time Machine with Guy Pearce. I love that one as well.
Alright. What about you, Lucas?
So there's two movies I want to talk about. One you guys definitely have seen. I know for a fact you guys would have seen it. And the other one you guys probably wouldn't have seen. The one that you guys had to have seen that we haven't even touched on, to me has the biggest time travel plot twist in history. Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
I did say it. I mentioned it.
Did you? I didn't even hear you say it.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching Planet of the Apes for the first time when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, animals are enslaving humans. Haha, this is great. And then seeing Statue of Liberty, like, all of a sudden it became like, whoa, shit, this is real. Like, it made that movie feel a lot more real in this kind of dumb, like, 8-year-old thinking type of way. I love Planet of the Apes. I think it's one of the best examples of time travel done well, because at the time you don't know it's time travel. Another one, I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It's actually an anime called Your Name. It's not time travel. It's more time displacement. But that that movie, if you haven't seen it, like I don't really get emotional during movies, but I bawled my eyes out watching that movie.
That's why I haven't watched it. I've been told to watch it. I'm like, I don't want to cry.
Oh my god, it's
and Ethan won't watch anything you tell him to watch.
Exactly.
Yes, I fucking do. It just takes me a while to get around.
He digs
to
the
it.
heels in and he gets pissy. He gets pissy. You should watch this movie. Nah, can't watch it now. Nah, someone told me to watch. Can't watch it.
Yeah,
You can't tell me what to do. I'm a rebel.
But no, like, yeah, Your Name is definitely one I would recommend everyone watch. Even if you're not a big anime fan or even just animated content in general, the story, I can imagine that movie being made into a live action film one day. And there's not
an
much
American adaptation. I think J.J. Abrams is tied to it.
Oh, that.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they were going to do a live action adaptation. I don't know if it's going to be good.
Well, they're actually in like production with like Toho producing it as well. Who did the original?
Huh. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Hopefully they do it well, because it's got a twist about it's got a twist right at the end of the second act that.
Oh, well, now I'm gonna watch it expecting a twist.
Well, shut up. The movie's been out long enough. You should have seen it by now, goddammit. But the movie, the second act has.
Apparently, they're all werewolves.
Oh my god!
Fucking
yes. But no,
I thought it was known in the trailer that there's a werewolf in it. All right.
Nope.
The second act has got this twist that really sets the third act up as like possibly one of my favorite third acts in film, as a whole. Just the way that it's handled, the way it's dealt with, it's just fantastic.
So, and Lucas.
Apart from that, I've already kind of like blown it up already, but Bill and Ted is fantastic. I love that movie. I loved it ever since I was a kid. I'll still go back and watch it. I'm really hyped for the third one when they end up doing it. I'll say Terminator was good, but Terminator 2 is better. I think that's pretty much the overall consensus for Terminator anyway.
No. Disagree.
I mean, yeah, you got movies like Back to the Future. What else? I'm just going through a list here. Edge of Tomorrow was really good. Interstellar. I've already talked about how much I love that movie. Looper. You know. Again, Army of Darkness. That was another really good movie.
So the topic of conversation for next week will be Lucas repeats himself endlessly.
Yeah, that's always the topic of conversation.
And Ethan spoils everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Toby's just a miserable old bastard. And then you got the Simpsons episode where, you know, Homer keeps travelling through time. And then eventually he goes back and he's like, fuck it. And he steps on everything. And then he goes back to the present and they eat like with dinner with their really long tongues. And he's like, close enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for me, the trouble, like, I agree with Ethan. Like, the trouble is if you're going to do a serious science fiction time travel movie, then your shit better be on point. If it's not, then I'm going to pull it apart and find all the holes. That's why it's much easier for me to watch the comedic stuff like Back to the Future and whatever have you, because it doesn't matter. Like in Bill and Ted's, it's irrelevant. Like it's not meant to be taken seriously. The whole thing's just a bit of a fun. And I still see Doctor Who that way. I mean, it's obviously a lot more. It tries to be a bit more serious, but at the end of the day, it's still it's a kids show, and you know, you can't take it too seriously. Yeah, favorites. You know, yeah, I like the older stuff better than the new stuff. Like, so yeah, Bill and Ted's, Time Bandits,
Terminator.
Yeah, I like the original one better, just because it's darker and it's more mature and adult. And I mean, T2, everyone raves about it, but it was really dumbed down for family audiences. This is known, and because the studio wanted to get more bums on seats. And that ruined it for me. You know, so I anytime that the Terminator stuff wants to go back to being this dark and gritty kind of edgelord shit, I'm all for it. Well, that's about it for this fortnight. That's about all we got. We didn't wow on Ethan that much this fortnight. I'm a bit disappointed.
No, go ahead. Go on now. Just do it now.
No. Yeah. I've got to be in the mood.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll give you. Rather than watching
your face, your face is weird and your butt stinks. There we go. Got him.
Okay.
Now just be like, and Split was shit.
Rather than watch anything decent last night, when I got into bed, I watched Goosebumps. There you go. Rip on me for that.
No, but a lot of people probably agree with you.
Yeah, Goosebumps is fucking great.
You know why? Because they're idiots. Got him.
Oh, what was that around the twist? You guys would have grown up with Round the Twist, didn't you?
That is.
Yeah, I was about to say Ethan probably didn't because he was in New Zealand, but I did.
Yeah.
Fucking love that show.
Do you ever
felt like this?
Ever felt like this?
When strange things happen, and you're going around the twist. Fuck, that's a good show.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, Ethan, for real though, if you want an introduction into Aussie childhood, you should watch that show. It's on Netflix.
Oh, I don't know if I want to go down.
It's like Goosebumps. It's like Goosebumps.
No,
it's just
yeah,
Australian.
honestly, it's like Goosebumps, but it's all like Australian.
So that's it for another episode of the Big Spot Movie Podcast. I would like to take this brief moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their help. It makes a huge difference, allows us to keep our SoundCloud special fancy star account so that you can go back and listen to all of our podcast episodes rather than just most recent ones. Next fortnight, we hope to have a bunch more news for you. Reviews are a little slim at the moment because there's just not much happening in terms of blockbusters hitting the cinema at the moment. We're in a bit of a quiet spell. Isn't Iron Fist 2 on the 7th?
Oh yeah, Iron Fist 2 is as well.
Yeah, I think next episode will definitely be Iron Fist.
Yes. So we've got some binging to do in a fortnight.
Let's see if I can do it this time.
Yeah, because you still sort of struggled. Did you finish?
I finished Luke Cage.
2? Yeah. Okay. Cool. No. Yeah. It speaks volumes. All right, but so we'll be back next fortnight. We'll probably be talking about some Iron Fist amongst other things. Hopefully you could join us. Until then, have a fantastic fortnight, and you'll hear us then. Dun 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 dun.